The Watchers. This is the new directorial debut from Ishana Knight Shyamalan. This is based on a book, which I didn't know until recently. Yeah, it's a direct book adaptation. And this is her directorial debut. So yeah, I was interested to check this movie out because my relationship with Shyamalan is I don't think his movies are good. That's not controversial. I do think I love The Sixth Sense. I love Invincible. I love Invincible. I like Signs a lot. I think Signs is really good. Everything after that is bad. I don't like Split. I think Split sucks, which I know some people like Split. Glass was very, very underwhelming. But I'm in a way, and I've talked about this with Gene, I'm in a way a Shyamalan apologist because, yeah, after saying all of his movies suck.
Yeah.
Yeah, Old was not good. What did he do after that? Knock at the Cabin. That wasn't good. One of his best looking movies, I think, but not good. I am kind of an apologist for him, and I will always check out what he sees because I do think he is kind of like one of these last like artists that is creating original stuff, and he puts his own money into a lot of it, and he's trying to make original ideas, and I can, even if his voice is bad, he definitely has a creative voice of his own. And I'm just always interested to check out what he has in store. So like I'm always going to go out and see what he does because I do respect him on just a, hey man, you're making original stuff, you got original ideas. A lot of them suck, but you had some good ones, and like maybe there's a good one in there somewhere again, but I don't know. I think they're always interesting to talk about Shyamalan. So I did want to go out to see his daughter's debut. You definitely see a lot of his influence in this movie. I know she directed a couple of episodes of TV before this. But this is her first swing at a movie. Wrote the screenplay herself, but yeah, it is based on a book. So what'd you think of what'd you think of Watchers, and what's like your relationship with Shyamalan?
Well, my relationship with her father is I have only seen The Sixth Sense and Knock at the Cabin.
Okay.
Keep telling me to go check out Signs. People keep telling me to go check out the Unbreakable trilogy. And I was around. I am an Avatar: The Last Airbender fan, so I was around for like the massive fan disappointment, anger, rage at Last Airbender. I never watched it, though I have seen all the same goofy YouTube clips that people have of like the bad CGI for the bending and all that, and calling Aang Ung the whole time. Yeah, that's my relationship with him. I like Sixth Sense, didn't like Knock at the Cabin. But as far as his daughter, I hadn't seen those TV episodes, so I don't
me neither
know about her previous work. But as far as the movie is concerned, I wasn't for me.
No.
I liked about 2/3 of it, and then it just really sort of went right off a cliff in the third act for me. So I see you have a 1.5 star. That's probably the same for me.
Yeah. Yeah, it's so funny how I did see a lot of, because I am very familiar with Shyamalan. I did like a Letterboxd ranking, and I just went on this binge of like, I'm going to watch every Shyamalan movie. And I think I've seen them all at this point. But yeah, this movie has a lot of, like, if you told me this was directed by M. Night, I would have believed you.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
Yeah, it's got a lot of the same, like, it's got a lot of Shyamalan in it for sure. It's funny. I don't even think, like, the directing is really a weakness here. I thought she directed it pretty well. I thought the movie looks pretty good, right? Like,
yeah.
I don't think there's anything wrong on the directing aspect. I like the music. There was like a little theme going on, I think, a little bit there in the beginning. I thought that was good. But yeah, oh no, this movie is dog shit. This movie sucks so bad. Um, I I like Dakota Fanning. Um, I love her. Like I have a crush on her after this movie. Oh my god, she was just. I want to see her in more stuff. I know she's like a child actress, but I had to look at some of the stuff she's been in. Okay, what?
Live action Charlotte's Web remake from 2006.
Oh my god, I forgot
That's
about
her.
that.
Yep.
Yeah, holy shit. What do I did I write any notes about this? Okay, so we start off it's in Ireland. Um Dakota Fanning working in a pet store. She goes on this trip, gets lost in the woods, and she's stuck in the woods and can't get out and meets this group of people, and they're in this little like vault thing. They keep calling it the coop. And they can't leave. And there are these beasts out in the woods that are going to eat them if they don't do what they say. I mean, dear God, like, where do you start? Okay, like this. I don't know. Does this like raise more questions than it answers? One of those things, like it turns out that these beasts are fairies and or something. I'm assuming they're part of like some sort of ancient Irish lore, right? I'm giving the movie that.
Yeah.
I'm saying this must be based on some real folklore, perhaps. I guess the first thing you can say is Dakota Fanning, she pretty quickly, right off the bat, is accepting of this fact that she's like trapped in the forest, like and can't leave. Like she pretty much like accepts it right off the bat. Does that, like,
Well, she accepts there's a danger out there because she thinks she sees something in the woods, but she does try to like not follow the rules, rebel against the rules. She's initially suspicious of Madeline. Remember that's the whole point of why she goes into the burrow because she's like, "Oh, is that what Madeline told you to do?"
right?
You know. Um, so for me, that those 2/3, like the first two acts, I liked
Okay.
because it's like, yes, it was raising more questions than it was answering, but it's like, this is kind of folkloric horror. We don't need to know everything. We just kind of need to be like, there are monsters out there. We are resisting the monsters. We're getting interesting little tidbits of like how like they're these ancient creatures, and this academic who's like nowhere to be found might have like messed with them, and now we have to deal with the consequences. And so it's like, yeah, that works. And then for me, where the movie falls apart is we get into the third act because I'm like, wait, there's still movie left.
Yes,
Okay,
yes. I was like, it kept going, and I was like,
yes.
wait a minute, wait, there's still more? Like,
I thought they were going to do the dumb thing where they were just like setting up a sequel. So like she would go into the office and then it was like, oh, she saw something weird and that sets up like a sequel. But no, it kept going. It kept going and going and going. I was like, what's happening? I want to go home. Like,
yeah, me too. Oh my God. Yeah, I thought the same thing. Yeah, so like, none of to me, I wasn't even really into it in the first act because none of the characters that they introduce seem interesting or what they're what was that girl's the woman's name? Uh
the younger woman?
Madeline, the older one.
Oh, Madeline, yes, the older
Okay.
one.
She wins my award for the most annoying character in a movie this year. I hated her so much. Every time she starts like going into like this annoying monologue, like exposition thing, I wanted to be like, oh, shut the fuck up, Madeline. No one cares. She was the most annoying, like, some they have many names. Some call them this, and she's so self-serious, and like obviously you kind of learn later in the movie what her deal is, but even still, I was like, oh,
I hated. I was like, why does she have to be a monster?
there's so many, and I'm sure like there's gonna be videos that'll go way into why none of this makes sense. I didn't even have the energy to like start poking holes through like the story, which probably has a million things. It just like, yeah, so like it doesn't even seem like they're real. It's weird. I was checking my watch because I wasn't interested. I was bored. And it also kind of felt like they weren't even really in the forest for that long. And I just, I started asking myself these questions. I'm like, okay, um, you're trapped in a room together all night. Like you can't, like, they hunt to eat. Like, so what? Do they have to like piss and shit in front of each other? Like the girl and the guy have been there for like 6 months. Like, are they not like just having sex? Like, is that guy not like trying to rape them or something? I don't know. Like, that's a little dark, but um, I just start having these questions, and then I'm like, uh, then the obvious thing is like when they discover the door going underneath, it's like, okay, you've been here in this room with about 4 objects in it for months, and not once did you like move stuff around and feel that. So
I know, and it's like you can maybe excuse the younger two, because I think that like they've obviously been there longer than Dakota Fanning, but like Madeline's supposed to have been there for years, right?
Right.
And it's all that time you never looked at something, and while this gets explained, which is that she's a monster, so she already knew about it and was trying to keep them from knowing about it. It's just like, shouldn't this have raised questions with you? Like, you never moved this, you never like tapped the floor at a weird angle and like heard the different noise compared to the rest of the floor.
Which, like, I hate complaining about stuff like that in movies. Which I mean that was a pretty blatant like distraction. That was a pretty like, oh fuck you, like you couldn't. But like when there's really nothing else to be interested in, like this is where my mind starts going. When the movie's offering nothing else, I'm gonna start thinking about this stuff. If there was a way more interesting story going on, I would excuse a lot of these like conveniences. But yeah, and then there's like the whole thing with the guy Daniel. He locks out Dakota and Madeline at one point and leaves them to die because he's going crazy. And then they come back in, and then they kind of like forget like it ever happened. Like he dies at the end, and they're like, "Oh no!" And then like they say, like, "Oh, we were like a family in that thing." It's like he tried to kill you. Like what?
I think Madeline slaps him, doesn't she?
Yeah, but like I don't know. It just it just was this, like every time she started monologuing about the rules of the forest and what is going on, I just couldn't care less, and maybe that's it. Just the premise just ended up being so uninteresting, I felt like. And then when they get down to the lair of the professor and they're watching his video logs, and I'm like, wait a minute. So how did he build this? Like he was luring people into the forest, and like, how did this come to be? How did he get all this equipment here? Again, like just all a bunch of hogwash that I'm like,
See, I didn't hate, like, you're right. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't add up. But I could go along with the ride still.
Sure.
I agree, because I kind of like stuff like this where did you ever watch Code Lyoko back in the day?
That sounds very familiar, but I don't think so.
See, I liked it. But basically, it's a French show dubbed into English. It's animated. It's about these like prep school students who discover in an abandoned factory near their boarding school.
Oh, I think I know this. Wait a minute. Yeah. Wait, is this where they go into like a digital world?
Correct. Yes, and they battle an evil AI named Sam.
Oh my god, I remember this.
So why this reminds me of that is that they're partly working off of like the abandoned research and notes of this like long, not dead, but he's like mysterious long disappeared scientist, right? Like Franz Hopper. Like,
yes.
So like I like stuff like that where like our heroes are imperiled and they're trying to figure something out, and they have to like use the notes of like some dead professor or some old wise man long gone. I like that trope. So I was like, oh yes, I want to see these scary little video logs that he did where he loses his mind. I eat that kind of stuff up.
Sure.
But yes, it doesn't make any sense because like, how did he? Yeah, okay, you were hiring different shifts of people and they all died, but that would have taken so long. And the reason why he explains that he didn't die is he already had the bunker. But it's like, how did you build the bunker?
Right.
What were you doing when they were still building the bunker? Like,
Yeah. Yeah. Like again, like if I was really into it, I would excuse a lot.
yeah,
Yeah. It just boils down to it was a bunch of boring lore that, and then like okay, so the fairies, what is their purpose? They're studying the humans because they want to transform into them and live amongst them, and they once were the ones in power, so they're treating the humans like they're like little gerbils in this box, but if they
yeah,
step outside they're gonna just kill them.
yeah,
I
yeah.
don't know. I didn't. I just. I wasn't. Maybe I just wasn't following it enough, and I'm just what like.
Mm,
There wasn't enough there for, or there was too
yeah.
much there, and I just didn't care.
No, I think you're asking the right questions. I think I was just able to go on the ride a little more because I liked
Sure.
the enough of what it was serving me, like aesthetically, tonally, things like that. And again, until the third act, when it's like, what are we doing? Where is this going? Why is there still a movie here? Why is she a monster? She did not need to be a monster for this to be anything. Like, yeah. So
Yeah, and then yeah, no, I wanted to be along for the ride. I get it. And then it does try to do like some character stuff with Dakota Fanning. Like, okay, you're gonna learn about what's her deal with her backstory with her mother, and it kind of just comes down to, which I get, it's something like it's some
yeah,
kind of character stuff where it's like, okay, so she is a rule breaker and is rebellious, and that is her flaw. And I'm like, I don't know. I was like, well, does she get redeemed in any way? Like, yeah, she was a little shit as a kid and she killed her mom. Like, yeah, that's pretty fucked up. Like, that didn't. I don't, maybe because of that rebelliousness is partially the reason why she was able to escape the forest, and
yeah.
maybe that. Yeah, yeah.
A
I
little
guess.
bit. I mean, she essentially mapped the forest for them, if you recall, with those like
Yes,
little charcoal drawings. So that probably helped their escape. I think she the one who found the little secret hatch door. I don't remember.
I think so.
Yeah,
Maybe. Yeah.
which also begs the question: if she was like consuming floor space with her map, why didn't she at any
I
point
I
move the table?
I thought the same thing. Yeah, it just was and then yeah, like also I'm thinking, okay, is I guess this could be explained away too, but I was like, so if you just drove into these woods and like it was you were on a road and you got like and just automatically you wound up here, would not a lot more people be funneling into this area? Like, or is it that was it trying to go for like, oh, the forest just picks you and chooses to consume
I don't know. I feel like
not really that important, but
yeah, I think it wants to say that maybe that's not a common road to drive down, and so that's how you get sucked in.
yeah,
Like maybe she took a wrong turn or something. I don't know. Because the idea is that they were, well, not Madeline, because she in her cover story she said that she was just intentionally seeking them out. But as far as everyone else was just like a hiker or just like walking around,
right,
and that's how you get consumed. And you do see at that gas station all those like missing person signs.
right.
I don't know if it's just casting a blanket net or if it's choosing you, but I do think it's kind of like random who shows up and who gets in.
Yeah,
And not everyone I think makes it to the coop. I think a lot. I think most people probably die before they decide.
yeah, that's true. I did kind of like the look of the fairies, like when they're hiding in the tree stump and you see them in the distance, like kind of rising.
Yeah,
I think they looked pretty good. I think they could have done a little like a lot of times I feel like with these monsters when it's in like this kind of tone, like less is always more, you know, and just seeing like them in the shadow. Like I did think we saw like a couple CGI claws, and at the end we saw like the actual like
full thing.
full
Yeah,
thing. Um which was kind of all right, cool. Yeah, I don't know. I did have one funny note. She when they're running to the boat to get to the boat at the end, and I just wrote this down because it's so funny. They're running and it starts raining, and when it starts raining, Dakota Johnson or Dakota Fanning goes, "We're never gonna make it." I'm like, what? Because it's raining? Like, it was so. I don't know. Just like that was kind of the vibe of this movie, where like, I don't know. Yeah, there wasn't enough there.
Yeah.
So
Like,
yeah,
and I
go
don't know
ahead.
how big the woods are, but if you woke up at like, I don't know, 6 in the morning, like when the sun first breaks, are you telling me it would take until like 7 p.m. just to get to where that little lake is? Like, I don't know. Like,
Yeah, and then it like, I, I don't know. Yeah, it's a shame because I don't know. I like Dakota Fanning a lot. And I liked the look of this movie a lot. And it just, that's the thing. It's like with these Shyamalan movies, like I want a good thriller, like, and I just want you to, man, the writing sucks so hard.
yeah,
like,
yeah,
I this would be a movie that I would want to like love and be like, come out of it and be like, yeah, that was a great original thriller or whatever. But yeah,
yeah.
just a,
Someone like Robert Eggers, like going really hard with
yes.
you know.
Yeah. Um, that's the gold standard, I guess. So yeah, another miss, but there really wasn't much in theaters this weekend. I don't know about you. I have no interest in seeing like the new Bad Boys movie.
No, I'm skipping that.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, I watch a lot, but there's not going to be. I'm not going to see stuff like I'm not going to go see like the new what like Inside Out 2. I don't
I'll
know if
probably do that. I
yeah.
attachment to Pixar that I'll probably check it out.
Okay. Yeah, I don't even know what's next. What do you think about this was something I was going to bring up just because I think we pretty much already said everything we really want to about the Watchers, right? Um what is your opinion on like the idea of like, this is Shyamalan's daughter. Is she a nepo baby? Is this wrong?
Is she a nepo baby? By definition, yes. Is it wrong? I think it kind of depends. Like, yes, she has an unfair advantage compared to other people. Whether or not I think it becomes odious is about like partly attitude. So like I like Jack Quaid. I think he's a good actor. He seems like a
Mhm.
guy. I follow him on social media. He's a nepo baby. He's the child of Dennis Quaid and Meg Ryan.
Yep.
So he has unfair advantages, but he also is kind of like, yep, I do have this, but I'm also just a regular guy, and I'm kind of just like getting by, and it's like, yeah, that's fine. Versus someone who's like Jennifer Aniston, who is a nepo baby, and she's like, "No, it's not true. I'm great, and I'm unnaturally talented, and they have to accept me." Like I
Yeah.
starts to become a little more annoying, I guess you could say.
Yeah, I just bring it up, yeah, because it is such a big topic
Yeah,
recently, and I know, yeah, Jack Quaid got the crosshairs for that too.
yeah,
Yeah, I think it's all bullshit. I think it gets you in the door, sure, but I mean, you got to sink or swim. I mean, Jake Gyllenhaal's a nepo baby. Um, like it's just like there's nepotism in every industry and every business. I mean, if you grow up with parents that work in film, you're just getting into the family business. I just and like how many people get jobs, especially in a place like Hollywood, where it's like, yeah, you just knew someone, you know?
yeah. I mean, I do think there's something to the critique personally, but I do agree that it it sets you up, but it doesn't mean that you're good. I think there are plenty of examples of like I don't know, different failed sons who like or failed daughters who like think they're going to be a screenwriter or think they're going to be a producer, and then you look at their filmography and it's like, what are you doing?
Right.
Where are you at? You kind of have to be. You still do have to be good, I think. But I do think that there's no question that certain individuals benefit from the fact that they have a famous last name and they have parents who can advocate for them and they can fall back on. Now, he's not in Hollywood, but I do think, like, for example, no one would care what Ben Dreyfuss would say on Twitter if he was not Richard Dreyfuss's son. That dude's a
Right.
dumb, privileged guy. I don't like him. He's so annoying. But we all care about him because he's Richard Dreyfuss's son. He only has a writing career because he's Richard Dreyfuss's son. You
Right.
know?
I do agree. I do agree with you with the attitude. Like, yeah, why not? Why hide it? Like, why act like, yeah, it got me in the door, like, but I still have to prove myself. Like I do get okay. So like I get annoyed with people that like there are people. I'm gonna use a big fat example that I'm thinking of right now. Zack Snyder. Um, Zack Snyder is not a nepo baby, but I do get a little angry when I watch his movies, and he seems like such a cool dude and seems very genuine. And and everyone that works with him seems like he's a really good dude to work with. I have like just as a person, but he is just so fucking oblivious about his own work and like
True.
he's so oblivious. He's so oblivious. Like, oh yeah, it's so cool. Like, no, dude, this sucks. And like these Rebel Moon movies now that he's making for Netflix that they're spilling billions of dollars into, and I do have this reaction of like, do you know how many people would kill for a fucking budget like that? And you're just pissing it away. Like, so I do have those thoughts sometimes. Like, if that was a nepo baby situation, like you're just wasting these resources. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. I agree with you, yeah, the attitude thing, but also, yeah, I mean, widely, I think it's kind of a bullshit narrative. I think, like, yeah, like Ishana Knight Shyamalan, if she's grew up in the business, like she's probably going to take a liking to it and just want to get into I don't think there's anything wrong with that.
No, it doesn't have to be wrong. Again, I think it comes down to attitude. But again, you and I both just had a conversation where we said the only reason we saw this thing was because she was the daughter of M. Night Shyamalan. And that's an advantage that a different up and coming director who had a silly little thriller that they cooked up might not have had.
That's true. That's true.
So, maybe there's something there.
Yeah. Yeah, that is a good point. But yeah, I don't know. Interesting conversation.